Hello, everybody. This is Tricia Dycka of the Happy Empath. And yes, this meeting is being recorded. Today, we are having a conversation about radical self-love, and I am excited to be here with Mindy Arbuckle. And welcome. Thank you for joining us. And please share a little bit about you, and then let's delve right into this.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really happy to be here with you, Tricia. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart because I've had to live it. I've had to discover it for myself. And it's been part of my growth process and part of what I teach people. So I am currently a spiritual entrepreneur business coach, and I help women who are trying to bring out their heart's passion into the world and not just do it for free, but to actually make money doing it and to remember how to take care of themselves better while they take care of other people, because I think that's something that's really important. And we oftentimes lose that connection when we're such givers. And so for me, tiny bit of history. I was born in Nebraska, fourth kid, was born into a great family, beautiful people, but I just didn't get the love that I really desired. And there's, any number of reasons for it, but it just wasn't filling me up. And I became a perfectionist to try and get that love. You know what that's like. It doesn't really work. And so over the course of my life, I've really had to figure out what am I really trying to do here? Who am I supposed to be helping? How am I supposed to help myself first so that I can help other people? And one of the key ingredients for me is figuring out, how do I love and appreciate all of me, for my mistakes, for my inadequacies, for the things that I have a hard time appreciating about myself. But when I find I can love more of me, I can love more of other people, and I can receive love a whole lot easier. And so it's just been this journey that it meanders and it's like a roller coaster sometimes, but it's always worth it. And when I remember what love really is as a guiding principle, that's really like the essence of the universe, then it makes it easier for me to come back to my wholeness, to come back to my abundance, to come back to inspiration for me and for others. So in a nutshell, that's who I am and what I do.
That's in a nutshell, right? I had to laugh at that. That was good.
I know.
I love how you brought the universe into it. And if you can, let's expand a little bit more onto that.
Yeah. So my two guiding principles in life are love and connection. And I see connections everywhere. And I truly believe that the essence of the universe is love. That's prana. It's that guiding energy of everything. It's like abundance. I mean, abundance is love. And so the connection piece helps me realize, wow, okay, this is all connected and it's all working in harmony. Even when it doesn't look like it's working in harmony, even when it feels like everything is effed up and so disastrous in your life, it's somehow all working for you because it is a system of love, and it is this moving, it's always moving, and it's always looking for places to land. I think that's a really important thing that we forget, is that the universe wants to help you. The universe wants to guide you. The universe wants to give you these gifts. And we oftentimes, in our own humanness and lack of appreciation of the moment, or always worried about something or fretting and all the things that we get caught up in, lose track that there are gifts being given to us on a regular basis. So those are all the connection pieces that I'm seeing. And the universe is like, it's a magical place. I mean, look at the stars, look at the sun and the moon. It all works in harmony always. So how could we be excluded from that?
Yeah. And I do like the comment of, even when it's fucked up, it's happening in a way that you're going to look back and go, I get it. Because I know for myself, different aspects of my life where, I was diagnosed with an illness and I was like, what in God? There was nothing. Like,
Yep.
when I first everything hit the fan. There was nothing about it that I was like, this makes no sense. Blah, 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 blah. Now, I think it was the best thing for me. The best thing for me because it knocked me on my ass and said, we need a lot of change here. We not only do we need a lot of change, but we need it fast. We need a real, and it had to be looked at mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And it was like, let's start from ground zero and build up again, because that's what happened to me. It really did.
Yes. Yes. I mean, human beings are such stubborn creatures. It would be amazing if we could all learn from the glorious, beautiful, sparkling things in our lives. We tend to forget to appreciate those. And then it takes enough knocks and enough ass kickings to wake us up. Those are the things that make us learn and grow the most, unfortunately, but fortunately at the same time. I mean, they're hard when we're going through them. We don't always understand why we're going through things. But in the end, we're like, wow, look at who I've become. Look at who I've become and all the things I've made it through. And a lot of the women that I work with, whether they're entrepreneurs or not, are leaders in their own right. And I think a lot of women are being called to wake up to the potential that they have and the possibility to lead, whether it's their families, just their partners, their co-workers, lead a big movement, lead a company. We're all being asked to do these little upgrades so that we can build our spiritual muscles. That's what I like to call it. I love calling it building your spiritual muscles because it takes a few repetitions to learn these lessons sometimes.
Wait, a few? I love that. Yes. But
I like to be optimistic.
if you think about it, sometimes people just need a few.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you can love yourself for being so goddamn stubborn.
Yes.
There's the radical self-love again. Like, oh my gosh, this lesson's coming back up again. So I must need it. Wow. All right. Thank you, universe. What do I need to improve? What do I need to uncover? And just how do I become the person that I'm supposed to be? The person I came here to be.
That's and for me, and I would love to hear how you uncover this, but for me, lately my go-to has been dumping out my brain on a journal, like just filling out my guts. And I'm seeing one of the things I did recently was a non-negotiable boundary.
Yes.
And because it was so non-negotiable, I'm watching the ripple effects of what's going on. It's amazing me, but I also see the universe saying now is not the time. That may change down the road, that may not. And that's with situations, people, my outlook, So it's been an amazing journey. So I would love to hear what tips, what things you do to uncover that.
Yeah. Okay. So I love that you're journaling because you're taking time to honor where you're at and to be able to, and that's part of self-love is just to say, this is exactly what's going on and it sucks. And it's also, like whatever it is, you can put it out and you're not expecting anyone to read it. You're just getting it out. And I think that's really important that we get things out in some way, shape, or form. And then to be able to hold on to that newly created space, you've created a healthy boundary for yourself, which is also, again, a way to love yourself enough to no longer let people take advantage of you in the ways that you always have. We don't need to get love by letting people walk on us and tear us down. Like that's just, that's a non-negotiable for me. I'm not going to let somebody make me feel bad about myself so that I can hope that they might love me in return. That just doesn't make any sense to me. And so I encourage people to not do that. And if you find yourself in that situation, how do you find that new boundary where you can know yourself, own who you are, and start to make changes in your life so that other people will see how valuable you really are, right? One of the ways that I really do that is through emotional processing. And I had to learn this because by being raised in the family I was raised in, and by becoming a perfectionist, I'd learned how to shut off how I felt and
Mm.
just get through it and put on a smile. And I was really good at just like always looking like the optimistic, happy go lucky, always vibrant Mindy. And it is who I am. But that also came from a very empty spot where I was trying to fill it up with other people's love, which is why self-love helps me become that woman for real, because that is who I am. But now I'm not doing it to seek approval. So I've had to learn how to honor my emotions and figure out what they're trying to tell me, because they are messengers. They're here to move through us, not get stuck, not get repressed,
Mhm.
not be ignored. They're really just here to teach us something. And it's a process of loving all of your emotions. Because one of my teachers, she always told me there's no negative emotion. Really, the only negative emotion is the one you don't feel fully. And so, like fear, it's not a negative emotion. Shame, it's also not a negative emotion. Those are two really difficult ones to honor and to love, but they're there to help you. And so, by honoring my emotions, by just calling them out and labeling them, and then finding where they are in my body and just sitting with them, I can learn all kinds of amazing things. And they give me clarity about what I'm here doing in the moment, what my next step could be. And it allows me more freedom rather than feeling like I'm stuck in an emotional prison. Those really difficult emotions help set me free to be the best version of me I can be. And that is so empowering. So if you can just love exactly where you are, exactly what you're doing, you don't have to indulge in things. You don't have to become, the grief and the things that you're going through, the frustration, but you can really sit with it, breathe through it, just say, okay, you're here, instead of just going like, I know you're here, but I wish you weren't. Because that's what most of us do. I think that's what I did most of my life. And learn. And like they're there to teach you how to move forward.
Yeah, I did it where I shoved it down and shoved it down and shoved it down and
Mm-hmm.
covered it with a top and locked that down
Yeah.
until there was
Mm-hmm.
no more space for one more emotion.
Yep.
And that's when it just
And
blew.
then you burst. Yeah.
Oh, I burst. I burst in the worst way. And
Yeah.
again, another experience in my life where it's the best thing for me to move forward, because
Yes.
now I'm like, gotta feel it, gotta go through it, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely think that what we resist persists. So if we
Yes.
ignore that emotion, it's coming back times 10,
Oh, yeah.
because now it's like, all right, I wanted you to pay attention to me. And it's not like you got to delve into the stories behind it. You
You
just
don't have to.
sit and feel it, and then it just bubbles up and disperses. Like,
Mm-hmm.
people like, you have to clear it, but you are clearing it just by sitting and being and allowing it and seeing it.
Yes. Yes. And oftentimes, to be honest with you, when I sit and be with it, one of my versions of me that didn't get what they needed when I was little, that's who I'm sitting with. I'm not sitting with an emotion that I'm thinking of, like trying to wrap it in a bubble. And I'm not doing that. Like there's a little being inside of me who didn't get love and is really afraid. And that's the one that I get to sit with and just say, it's okay, honey. And I get to love you right now because I love you. I really do. And that's the most important person to get the love from. And, my parents are blessedly still alive, but even if they gave me what I didn't get back when I was 3, 4, whatever, even if they gave it to me today, it wouldn't fill that gap. I am the one who gets to fill that gap, which is super empowering because now it's all in my hands. I don't have to go out and get it from somebody. But if I give it to myself, guess what? Other people give it to me more freely.
Oh, yes. Yes.
It's amazing. It's amazing how it works. And what you were saying is that you kept pushing it down, kept pushing it down, kept pushing it down. And the universe, this is the connection piece for me, is that the universe tries to give you these messages. And this is where the repetition comes in. And it's like, it just sort of taps you on the shoulder at first and gives you this sweet little like, hey, Do you see what's going on? And then it's like, okay, she's not getting this. So then it's like a little bit of a nudge and like, hey, I'm a little louder now. Do you feel it? Do you see it? And these are like the same boyfriends, the same relationships over and over, the same boss, getting in car accident after car accident, and then it's like, eventually, if you keep ignoring, then the universe no longer is going to joke around with you and like just tap you on the shoulder. It's like a 2x4 across the face, right? And those are the really freaking big things that happen in our lives when you get like suddenly a crazy diagnosis that you didn't expect. You have a huge car accident, you lose the house, you lose the job, like something big really happens because you've been ignoring the message for so long. And when those things come up, that's the hardest time to love yourself and that believing that the universe is working for you. But that's the time when you've got to stick to your guns and feel that faith and go, okay, this is happening for me. Breathing really helps. And just allow yourself to feel whatever's there and to get it. I mean, you've been trying to learn this lesson like your whole life. So let's just sit down and be with it, right?
Yeah, it's funny because when all those that exploded on me, I was like, I was a hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
the universe is like, all right, now let's pick up and let's move forward because you've knocked your gifts down, you've ignored your intuition,
Mm-hmm.
you've just, I told you to make a right and you refused and you made a left.
Yes.
And this is just a simplistic thing. I ignored my intuition to make a right going to work one day years ago. I made a left. I'm like, I'm going to be smart because the highway's that way.
Yeah.
And I heard make a right, make a right. And I'm like, no. My logical brain said you got to make this left. And I got stuck in 25 minutes worth of traffic for a ride that takes me 5 to 7 minutes. So I actually had to call and be like, yeah, I'm going to be late. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, no, and but it's similar to that. It's like,
Right.
well, I told you, and now you're stuck in traffic for 25 minutes and that sucks.
I
And that's
know.
a simplistic view of this.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten to a point in my life where I want to change it now and take care of it now before
Yeah.
something else blows up.
Yeah.
Because
And that's why
now,
we're on this path.
yeah.
So we don't have to deal with the future suffering because that stuff's actually avoidable.
Well, yeah, if you pay attention to how you feel and you love yourself enough to say no, create boundaries, because when you say no, you're actually saying yes to yourself instead of bombarding yourself with all these things you don't really want to do, or hang out, or go to a function, or participate in some business thing, or go to a family function that is just not good for you. So do all these things, and then you're like, I've got nothing left. And when you get angry at yourself for saying yes, that's when you have to step back and say, now what?
Yep. Yep. Oh, since I didn't listen to myself, this is what happens. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Time to be nicer to myself. That's
Yeah.
the radical self-love. Like, oh, I just made a mistake. I didn't listen to my intuition. I knew I could have, and I chose not to. And this is where it got me. Oh, wow. I mean, like if your friend came to you with that story, you'd be like, oh, honey, it's okay. You're all right. You make mistakes. But to us, we're like, you're fucking stupid. Like, all like the sailor shit comes out, right? We are so hard on ourselves. And we just beat ourselves up endlessly for something as simple as I made a left turn instead of a right turn, or a right turn instead of a left. And I knew I could have done the other. All of a sudden we're like enemy number one. And that's where radical self-love comes in. It's going like, okay, I don't need to beat myself up for this. What if I choose to be nice to myself in this moment, to have a little bit of empathy for myself? I teach other people, I show other people how to be kind and compassionate, but right now I'm not being kind or compassionate to myself. So let's let's rewind, back it up, and figure out a way that I can just be a little softer, be a little more gentle with myself.
Yeah. I mean, I know God, this is something that I'm constantly refining and looking at, because
Mhm.
when I do something and I'm like, what the bloody fuck? And I'm like, wait. I'm like, before we go down that path, all right. So we woke up on the wrong side of the bed. So
Yeah.
we're tired. All right.
Mhm.
You know what? Instead of beating myself up, I'm going to go take a bath with some Epsom
Mhm.
salts and just close the world off.
Mhm.
And that took me a long time to get there. That was not an easy, path at
Mhm.
all. That was a
Mhm.
learning path. That was, would you tell somebody else this? And my other question would be, if somebody treated you the way you're treating yourself, what would you do?
You would have words with that person.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, I would. And I'd be like, you know what? I'm not willing to tolerate your behavior. So
Yes.
if I'm not willing to tolerate your behavior, why am I willing to tolerate my own behavior towards myself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
That's radical self-love right there. Like that's a perfect example of it. Is I'm not going to tolerate treating myself this way this anymore. You know what? Um like for me, I grew up in a household, and like my ancestors, everybody just, they worked really hard. And like my father is in his 80s and he's still like almost sun up to sundown kind of guy working outside. He's got a garden. He's always doing something. And it took me a long time to be able to honor exactly where I was, like on those days where I was just feeling off, or like my period just started today and the second day I'm just like really tired. It
Yeah.
took me a long time to be able to just say, it's okay if you sit down. You could go take a nap. Like, and actually do it. Like for me, it was always comparing, like, oh my gosh, well, my husband is out there working. He's mowing the yard. I should be doing something as well. And for me, that when I do that, it's ignoring my own value. It's ignoring the fact that my body needs rest right now, whether I'm just really tired and I need a nap, or my period, or whatever. Maybe I just want to go take a nap.
Yeah.
It's okay to care for yourself. It's another expression of love. It doesn't mean that you always have to be in competition with somebody else. Like, I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but like when your husband's out there doing something, or your partner, your spouse, whatever, is out doing something that's, whether it's valuable for the family or they're just out, fiddling around. I feel like sometimes I should be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a comparison game, and comparison games never work. They always just zap your joy. So it's like being able to honor exactly where you are is again another form of that self-love, and it helps you feel more connected to you, not connected to the you that everybody else wants you to be, but actually you.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought that up, because I do something like that. Or if my husband cooks all day Saturday and Sunday, I am rushing to
Mhm.
get over there to do the dishes. And he's like, I got him. I'm like, you just cooked. Let me do the dishes. And
Yeah.
he's like, well, that's all
Uh-huh.
right, I got him. And I'm like, I feel this insane need to rush and
Yeah.
you did all the cooking. Let me do all the cleaning or
Mhm.
whatnot. And it's like, you can sit down and you can do this because you'll
Mhm.
pick up somewhere else.
Yes.
It's like, but it's this thing. It's like, oh, I got to do this or I got to do that.
Mhm.
And instead of just saying, okay, he's okay doing this and you're okay doing that, just step back.
Wow, what a gift. And so he's given you a gift, and by you saying, no, 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 let me do it, you're refusing a gift. You're
Mm,
taking away his opportunity to just show you love in a way that he can in that moment. And you're refusing his love. Like that's a form of love from him. So it's magical when you start going in the moment, like just, I'm going to be right here right now. And right now I want to help, but he's saying I don't need to. So right now I'm going to take the space and go do whatever I want to do because he's got it. And I'm going to receive that. And that's okay. So I like, if we can live in that moment and not compare it to the last time that happened. Well, the last time he said he's got this, so he must have this. So I'm going to go do this thing. Right. Just every moment, be in that moment and see what arises with curiosity. And, magic can really appear really quickly in those kinds of ways. Like last night we had a dinner party with some friends and I spent several hours cooking. Just, it's actually something I really love to do. We made like this German feast and I had a lot of fun making it. And he came in and he did the chicken schnitzel, right? And so he breaded the chicken and he fried it and he did all that. But I did everything else for the whole dinner. And at the end of the night, our friends had left. Kitchen's basically cleaned up. We're just sitting and relaxing. And I said, thanks for your help tonight making dinner. And he's like, thank you. You did it all. And I was like, oh, thank you for saying that. Yeah, he said, all I did was the chicken. You did everything else. And I was like, oh, and I let myself receive that.
Yeah.
And, it's really great to be able to receive those compliments, to receive the gratitude that people give us. Because most women are, I don't know, most women that I know are like, oh no, it's fine. And like making these excuses and like, oh, thanks. My hair looks great. I just washed it. Like that's they deflect the compliment. They deflect the gratitude being given to them, but absorb it. Again, self-love means being able to not just give love, but to receive it as well.
Yeah. And I myself included have definitely had to work on that receiving a compliment because my thing is, well, I received one, so I have to give one back immediately. So it's like somebody said something nice or, I've learned, thank you. Like that's it. I don't have to now go back and say, yes, you too, or whatnot. It's okay to just receive a compliment.
Yes. I had to learn this lesson when my first daughter was young. She's 12 now, but good gracious, this little one was stunning when she's still stunning, but she was like this perfect little baby. And this girl received compliments everywhere we would go. And it honestly made her very uncomfortable. She was this beautiful blonde hair, white blonde hair, blue eyes, adorable, like just the cutest thing ever. Well-behaved, out on the trails when she's like 2 years old, hiking around, jumping on rocks, right? Like just people wanted to take pictures of her because she was so cute. Like just random. I'm like, no, thank you. No, don't take pictures of my kid.
Yeah.
But she was uncomfortable receiving this extra attention. And I said, Zella, sweetie, all you have to do is say thank you. You don't have to do anything else. You just have to say thank you. Just be polite, receive it. That's it. And it was like I was having to learn that lesson myself again, because we all do it. We all deflect it, or it makes us feel uncomfortable in some way. But if we can just receive, then it doesn't make you better and it doesn't make you worse. It just is part of your day. And it's a wonderful experience, but it doesn't make you or break you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. And I still sometimes, because I want to share my story or my experiences so everybody can take that and not ridicule, comment, or think less of themselves. Because no matter how far we come, there will be moments where, and it still happens to me, where I'll get a compliment and I'm like, oh, and I'll be like, and I will feel this insane urge to immediately send it back. So I catch myself doing that, and I also just sit back and receive. So it, and yes, as women, we were always taught, your low man on totem pole, do for everybody else, always be kind, always give, always. There's a litany of stuff that we literally have to unlearn, or we have to decide what works for us still at this point.
I think one of the coolest ways that I've played with this aspect of what we're talking about is practicing giving compliments regularly. And I give them to strangers all the time. So I was picking up pizza over the weekend at a local pizza shop, and I just was sitting at the bar having a lemonade. And the bartender, oh gosh, this girl was like, I can't even describe how just she had her own style. She was just funky and grooving and in her own, right? And I looked at her and I was just like, this is really cool. Like, and I didn't even really have words for it, but I just looked at her authentically and said, you look amazing. And she just looked at me and she smiled and she's like, wow, thank you. And then she turned and kept doing her thing. But it's really fun to be able to give random people compliments, and to watch how they respond helps you see how you might respond. Because when you start to see people go, oh, that's really uncomfortable. Oh, well, thank you. I don't really know what to say. Then you see that and you see how you can do it differently. And just, like for people who feel a little uncomfortable, like all you have to do is say thanks. It's all good. I just try and like gently train people how to receive compliments if they need it. But really it's fun to be able to give people compliments. Like I give people compliments at the grocery store, or just looking people in the eye and smiling. You can smile now and people see it because we don't have to wear face masks 100% of the time anymore. So like take advantage of the space and the time and the ability to look someone in the eye and find something that you love about them and tell them.
Yeah. I went to a vegan place to eat. Jesus, this food was amazing. So I was with a friend and I'm like, I'm going to steal a chef. We're going to have her come cook at us at home. Like we were just rolling, we were just having such a good time. But we said to the waitress that, we complimented the chef, and she sent the chef out, which was really great. She was 23 years old. This girl's a little old soul. Yes, but I was like, you are an amazing cook. I said, I loved everything I've eaten here, and she was like, oh, and then she's like, thank you. And then she started to share her story with us as to why she became a vegan chef. But like, when you look at the reactions, a lot of people are not as quick to do that receiving. It makes their day though.
It really does. You have no idea what ripple effect it might have.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
And on that note, we've definitely been 30 minutes.
This has been so fun.
I know, I could go on, but I would love for you to share where people can reach you and some other tip so that they can delve into their self-love.
Okay. So you can find me at mindyarbuckle.com. Super easy. It's just my name, mindyarbuckle.com. I'm also on Facebook. I've got a fun Facebook group called Happiness is an Inside Job. And my last tip for being able to really, truly love and appreciate yourself, kind of along the lines of what we've been talking about, is how you hold boundaries a little bit better. Is just think about how many times you've said yes when you really meant no, or how many times you've said no when you really meant yes. So I like to call it a sacred yes or a holy no, right? Like figure out when you say yes, let it be a sacred yes and let your whole heart be put behind it. And if it's not your whole heart, then it's a holy no. And it's okay to say, holy no, this is not for me right now, but really mean what you say. Have truthfulness in your words so that you can be in that present moment again, so that you can love and honor exactly where you are. Like if somebody asks too much of you, you can say no and be able to hold that boundaries with just knowing your sacred yes and your holy no.
Yeah. I like the hell yes or the hell no, but I love how you said that, because it's so important to actually feel into it and don't say yes and then be angry at yourself or not enjoy something and then you say no and then you feel bad. So it's really about that, holy no, or well, I say hell yes, hell no. But I love that thought. Like really be all in, back that yes or back that no, and be all in with it. Yeah.
Let it be aligned. Body, mind, spirit, energy, everything can get behind it. It's a sacred yes or hell yes, right? And then if If something doesn't feel right, it's okay to say no. And then don't beat yourself up for it. Give yourself love. If it was a mistake in the future and you figure it out later, then it's okay. You're allowed to have mistakes. You don't have to be perfect. Coming from a recovering perfectionist, you don't need to be perfect. It doesn't ever work out.
Yeah, that's true. I've tried. I've come to the
Really hard.
conclusion that perfectionist really means procrastination, because we try to be so perfect and we don't do anything and we hold off, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm just procrastinating now. That's me.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
guys. As always, please take what resonates with you. Please take it, tweak it, make it your own. Put these tools into place, because starting with the foundation of radical self-love really opens us up to so much more out in the universe than we could possibly ever imagine. So thank you so much, Mindy, for being here with us today. And guys, as always, leave comments, leave questions, and we will definitely come back and check it out. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, Tricia.
Thank you.